As the world enters year 3 of the pandemic, people are increasingly looking at a new buzzword as the potential finish line: endemic COVID. What is endemic? An endemic is the state of play when a disease settles into a more stable, predictable level of transmission, sort of like the flu or common colds. It happens when populations build up enough collective immunity that the disease has trouble spreading as it did during the pandemic era, and hospitalizations, deaths, and infections should come down. But it doesn't mean that the virus will go away completely, and it certainly doesn't mean that it poses no threat. Tuberculosis and malaria are examples of diseases that are in endemic states in part of the world, and in 2020 they combined to kill more than 2 million people globally. What does living with the virus look like? Since few countries will be willing to keep going with lockdowns, societies will need to rely on new tools that we've developed throughout the pandemic: regular testing, masks, even use of COVID passports. When cases are low in a given country, the people probably won't need to use these tools all that much. But when cases surge again, whether in the winter months or because of a new variant, people might need to get used to using the tools once again, especially in indoor settings. What countries are looking at the endemic possibility? Countries that are furthest along towards this endemic state of COVID are those with really high vaccination rates, particularly among the elderly and the most at risk. Spain and Portugal are good examples of that. Other countries that may be entering it soon are those that had really high levels of infections in the previous waves, and also of younger populations, such as South Africa. It's impossible to say what COVID will look like by the end of 2022, since no one can predict when and where the next variants will emerge, or how hard-hitting they'll be in terms of illness. The good news is, countries that got hit with Omicron early, like the UK and South Africa, already have cases going down again, and the level of hospitalizations and deaths were much lower than in previous waves. But beyond Omicron, things get a little fuzzier. Will the next variant be milder, or will it be harder hitting? No one can say for sure. That's why health officials want to continue vaccinating the world, particularly in areas where the coverage has thus far been very limited, such as lots of Africa. The good news in all of this is over the course of the pandemic, societies have been steadily building up population immunity, whether through vaccinations or infections. And as that builds, we're going to be moving closer and closer to the endemic state, and ultimately we will arrive there.